How you all doing, all right?
Yes.
Yeah? What?
Yes.
Why are you all looking at me? What? Aren't you meant to be drawing rocket ships or learning to write or something? What? Okay, I'll tell a story. This story I'm going to tell is the story of the death of one of the most evil witches the world has ever known. Now, I hope you're feeling brave because it is quite a scary story. That witch's name is Babba Yagga. Now, you may laugh, but in Russia, where this story's from, if I said that to a group of Russian children, they would start crying. They would actually be crying now. Because in Russia, they know exactly how evil and nasty Babba Yagga is. In fact, she eats a child, and by coincidence, a year 2 child, every morning for breakfast. Every single morning. Poached, fried, baked, she'll have a child every morning for breakfast. But anyway, we'll forget her for the moment, because the story starts with 2 children, brother and sister, Olga, who is blonde and bold and bright, and her younger brother, Sergey. Sergey, who is dark and shy and quiet. But he's also very, very good at making things. Is anyone here a good maker? Is anyone good at making things? Fantastic, all of you. So you'll understand what it's like for Sergey to love tinkering with things. He could make amazing contraptions and models out of stuff that other people would throw away. And this particular Sunday, on which this story takes place, he had made him and his older sister these little helicopter toys. And they were very simple. They were little helicopter blades on a stick. So you could hold them between your hands like that and spin them. And they would go high up against the blue sky. And very cleverly he had put a little spike on the bottom. So when they had stopped spinning, they would fall back down, thuk, thuk, to stick inside the earth. Sergey and Olga were in a field just near their house and they were playing with them all morning. And it was great fun. Until an old man who was out walking his fox beckoned them over. And he said to them, Children, you must go home right now. I have seen something very terrible. I have seen 3 black geese in the sky. Very, very scary. You must go home. Now, the children are thinking, black geese? That's not scary. Come on, mate. But the man goes on. Yes, I think they are the geese from Babba Yagga. And as soon as he says Babba Yagga, where you giggle, Sergey starts to cry. He gasps, and he's terrified. The old man walks off, and his fox trots along after him. And Sergey's about to turn and run back to their mummy and daddy's house. But Olga's like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going home, Babba Yagga's geese, hello. She's like, you don't believe that old man? Come on. I mean, he was walking a fox. A fox. Who walks a fox? And he smelt of wee. And he was probably just confused. He's an old man, he's probably just confused. Just ignore him. Sergey, he really wants to go, and Olga's like, well, okay, you go. I'm staying here, playing with my helicopter. So Sergey reluctantly stays with his older sister. But their game's a little bit ruined. It's like a sour mood has fallen over it. And perhaps because of that very soon after they spoke to the old man, Olga's helicopter toy got stuck high in the branches of a tree. Now, she didn't particularly want to climb up that tree. It's very, very tall, a bit scary. So she said, Sergey, I've got my helicopter stuck. Can you climb up there and get it for me, please? And Sergey's like, no, it's not my helicopter. You go and get it. And Olga's like, go on, I'll time you and you can see how quickly you can do it. Now, I don't know if any of you have used that on your younger brothers or sisters, or if your older brothers and sisters have used that on you. My sister used to do it to me, and I used to think, oh, time me, see how quickly I can do it, I bet I can do it really quickly, and then I'd go and do whatever she asked me. Unfortunately for both children, the trick worked on Sergey, and he was up that tree, and he was a super tree climber as well as being a good maker, and he was right in the tallest branch, and he was just grabbing that helicopter toy when suddenly 3 black geese descended from the sky and grabbed him, and he was lost in a mass of honking black feathers. And Olga didn't know what to do. She started screaming and screaming and screaming, and the black geese carried Sergey off, over into the distance, and she was crying and crying and crying. And she cried all the tears she had inside her body. And when she was finished, she stood up and she walked determinedly towards where the geese were going. And of course, she knew where they were going. They were going to the black wood, where Babba Yagga had her hut, where she eats a child every day for breakfast. So Olga's walking off to save her little brother from being Babba Yagga's breakfast. Determined, looking towards the black wood, she walks and she walks and walks. And after a little while, she hears a little voice. And the little voice says, please give me a hand, please help me. And she looks around. But you know what? She can't see anybody. There's no one about. Then she looks down on the ground. And there she sees the owner of the voice. And it's a little squirrel, and he's saying, please, just wait 1 second, please, give me a hand, you've got to help me here. She says, what's the matter? She says, anyway, I can't help you, I've got to run and save my little brother, because he's going to be Babba Yagga's breakfast, so I've got to go. And he's like, no, just 1 second, I've got my foot stuck in this rabbit trap. Please, I'm not a rabbit, look, I'm a squirrel, look at my tail, I'm not a rabbit, please, help me. She's like, oh, okay, and she opens the rabbit trap, and she's just about to turn and go. He says, wait, before you go, I've got a present for you because you've saved my life. I'm dead grateful. Here, take this nut. You throw it on the ground. Just looks like a normal nut. Just like a normal nut, right? But if you throw it on the ground, it's magic. The first thing you shout, that thing's going to appear. Olga's like, okay, thank you. And she walks off, determined to save her little brother. But before very long, she hears another little voice. Voice says, can you stop a second and give me a hand? She looks around, and again she sees nobody. The voice carries on. Please, can you stop just a second? No one help me, please. She looks down. She sees a little water rat down there in the grass. And he says, thanks, please, just help me a second. She says, I can't. I've got to run and save my little brother from being Babba Yagga's breakfast. And he's like, okay, but please, just move this stone out of the way of my hole. This is in front of my house. I can't get into my house and no one will help me around here. Please give me a hand. She's like, oh, okay, that's easy. And she just kicks the stone out of the way. And she's about to turn and run and go. He's like, wait, you've really helped me here. You've really helped me. Wait there, wait. He goes into his house and he comes back and he brings a sheath of wheat with him. He gives her that. She's like, a sheath of wheat? Says, wait, just a sheath of wheat, just like a normal sheath of wheat. Yeah, it doesn't look too special, no. Looks normal, but it's magic. All you gotta do is you gotta eat it, right? And the first thing you shout, that thing's gonna appear. Olga's like, oh, okay. Okay, thank you. And she rushes off again to save her little brother. And then she's at the edge of the black wood. There it is. She can see it. It starts just straight away. Like when you're playing a computer game and you get right to the edge of the computer game and there's just a wall that you can't go past. It looks like that. And in front of the black wood, there's a big, dirty river. And luckily, there's some stones that she can jump across, and she hops across the river. Nearly falls in. Doesn't quite. Hops all the way across to the edge of the black wood. And she's just about to go in when she hears another little voice. This time, she doesn't even bother looking around. She knows it's going to be a little creature. She looks down. Do you know what it is? It's a little fish stuck on a rock, flapping this way and that. and he says, "Me, please, you just got to stop a second. I can't breathe. I thought I'd like it out here, but it's horrible. I can't breathe. I don't know how you can do it. It's horrible. Just get people out of the water, please." So she's like, "Okay, I'm trying to save my little brother from being Babba Yagga's breakfast, but I'll help you." And she just lifts the fish up, splash, throws him in the water. She's just about to turn and carry on with her mission, when the fish says, "Wait, before you go, you've saved my life, and I've got to pay you back. I've just got to pay you back. I'm so grateful to you. Like, take one of my scales, right? Take one of my scales, and it's just normal scale, but this one's magic, right? I've been saving it. Put it in your eye, like that, right? And then the first thing you shout, that thing's going to appear, right? Hope it comes in useful." Olga thanks the fish. She carries on into the wood. Who's ever been to the wood? Has anyone been to the wood? Yeah, I've been to the wood as well. Do you like the wood? Yeah, I like the wood. It's really fun. I really like climbing trees.
Me too.
Yeah, you too? I like walking. I like climbing trees. I like loads of stuff you can do in the wood. Treehouse. You made a treehouse. That's excellent. I would advise you never to go to the Black Wood to make a treehouse, to walk, or to do anything else. It is a horrible place. The trees are so close together. Going through it's like walking through a crowd like that. It stinks. There's a smell of rotting flesh. There's spiders everywhere, bugs. The ground is sort of muddy and slurpy, like it's trying to swallow you up. There's no light that comes in there. And it was a really scary place to be. But Olga knew she had to save her little brother from being Babba Yagga's breakfast. And so she carried on, getting closer and closer to the heart of the wood. And eventually she broke out into a little clearing. And there she could see the hut of Babba Yagga. She had heard stories that it could get up and walk on legs. But at the moment it was just sat there in the forest like a wart on someone's skin. She could see the 3 geese. They were on top of the hut. And they were sleeping, having their afternoon nap. Whew, she thought. She tiptoed, right up to the door, praying that it wouldn't creak. She pushed it open. It was quiet, and then she was looking straight in to the eyes of Babba Yagga herself. She was frozen with fear. Babba Yagga was sitting in her rocking chair and just staring straight at Olga. Olga was so scared she couldn't even turn and run. But she realised that Babba Yagga wasn't moving. She was very still. In fact, she was snoring a little bit, and a little bit of dribble was just coming down her chin like that. She looked closer. She saw that she was sleeping. Babba Yagga sleeps with her eyes open. And I'll tell you why that is, I happen to know. She's done so many beauty spells on herself. She's used so many youth potions on her skin that it's warped and twisted, and she can't really change her facial expression. She's stuck in this sort of horrible, snarly face. She can't change it at all. So she sleeps like that, with her eyes open. Once Olga realises this, again, she tiptoes past Babba Yagga to begin her search for her little brother Sergei. Now I'll tell you, it's not easy, because Babba Yagga's house is full of spiderweb tripwires.
Or traps.
Yeah, door traps. Rats. Trick doors. Door tricks. Mice, little mice spies. Yeah, rats with little spears. bats that can suck your blood. She's got all of that. Poisonous spiders, have you been there? How do you know so much about it? It's almost impossible to get through, but you should have seen Olga in there. She was like Indiana Jones. There was no stopping her. She got past all of those traps and tricks, and she found her little brother deep in the basement of the house. And he was down there in a little well, and he was shivering and he was crying. Olga leans over. She says, Sergey looks up. Olga! I'm so glad you've come! I was really hoping you would come! It's great! It's like, shh, shh. Babba Yagga's asleep. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. They both wait in silence, but they don't hear a sound. They don't hear a sound. So Olga looks around. She finds a piece of rope. Good. And she lowers it down the well like that. Then pulls her brother up. Sergey climbs up on top of the well. Whew. Let's go. And they make their way back through the house, over past the poisonous bats, over the poisonous spiders and the rats with the spears and the tricks and the traps, and past all of them. And they go past Babba Yagga, who still sits there sleeping and drooling, and they get out, careful not to wake the geese, tiptoeing, and just on the edge of the clearing, as they're about to go back in the wood, Olga steps, snap, on a twig. And the geese are awake, and they're flying after the children. They run and run as fast as they can, but the geese are catching up on them. They're going to grab them. Babba Yagga's going to have an extra big breakfast the next morning. But just before those geese are about to grab the children, Olga remembers. She reaches into her pocket, she turns, she takes the nut, she throws it on the ground, and she shouts, "Nets!" And these great nets appear, and the geese are tangled up in the nets like that. The children are like, "Yes!" And they keep running. But Babba Yagga has been woken by the noise. And she's come out of her hut. And she's seen what happened. And she's running. And she eats up the nets and the geese and all. And starts chasing after the children herself. And she's old, but she's fast. Really scary when old people run fast. Really scary. And she's chasing them. And she's just about to grab them. Her scaly fingers are just touching the back of Olga's neck when she turns again. And she takes the sheath of wheat. And she eats it down. And she says, "Mountain!" And a great mountain just rises up. With Babba Yagga on one side and the children on the other. And they're like, "Yes!" And they just keep running as fast as they can. And they stop when they hear the terrible sound of crunching rock. And Babba Yagga is eating her way through the mountain. And she comes out the other side, and she's like a sleeping bag full of boulders. She's like that, but she's still chasing the children, and she's still fast, and she's running, and she's going to grab them. And Olga takes the scale, and she puts it in her eye like that, and she says, "Lake!" And a great lake stretches out with Babba Yagga on one side and the children on the other. And they're like, "Yes!" And they keep running. And they stop when they hear the terrible sound of slurping as Babba Yagga drinks up the whole lake in one gulp like it was the end of a milkshake. And she's chasing the children again. And she's about to catch them. And Olga is crying and crying because she knows she doesn't have any magical gifts left. But Sergey is strangely calm as he reaches into his pocket and pulls out his little helicopter toy. He launches it high against the blue sky. And the little spike on top catches and it stops spinning and it falls down and lands on Babba Yagga's big fat belly. Bam! And Babba Yagga is exploded. And do you know what came out? As well as rocks and all the water from the lake and the geese and the nets. It was, and the water from the lake that came out. The children are all digested. But what didn't digest is all the toys that the children had. So there's planes and Nintendo DS's and balls and kites and all the different types of toys there's ever been was inside her from all the years she'd been eating these children. And it was like, a bit like when you get up on top of the roof. You know, when you get up on top of the roof and you find all the toys that have been stuck there that no one's ever got down. And it's like, wow, look at all these balls and planes and stuff. It's like that. And so Olga and Sergey got as many as they could carry like that. And they walked home happy as anything that they had defeated a witch and had about 10 Christmases worth of toys as well. And that is the story of the death of Babba Yagga the witch. And so you don't need to be scared because she's not around to have anyone for breakfast any longer. And if you liked that story, now is when you go like this.